It's August 18th, 2021. I came back. I did back-to-back. I did the green and black umbrella, then I did the pink umbrella. Lynn was watching something to do with housewives. I don't know, whatever. But then I had to ice my knees because it's just not good around here. I stopped to speak to the valet. He's very, what I would say, Latino, but he speaks Spanish. And again, these words get confusing in your humanness. An alien objecting when, humans objecting an alien and then confusing themselves with alien stuff. So I'm like, so I went to the guy and I'm like, I don't know, because he asked me for my social media, which was fine. So I gave it to him. I said, I don't know if you've been watching my social media. I was like, however, I said, I put something up today. I was like, I got to bounce this idea off of you because I'm not quite sure how this settles in larger area. I was like, if I said that homicide meets suicide meets genocide, and the three of them together is what you all refer to as capitalism. Does that make sense? And he's like, actually, he says, it does make sense. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I was like, all right, so that, I got that going on. I was like, now geographically, I was like, if I tell you I belong in somewhere between Iber to Siberia, and geographically my area has one really perfectly defined leg, I was like, do you know where on the map it would be? Like geography. And he goes, where on the map? One leg? And I said, here, I'll give you the answer inside the question. Ready? If I was in Europe and I had one really sexy Italian leg, where would I be on the map? And he goes, Italy. I'm like, exactly. I was like, all right, so now imagine. I wake up, because my father's Italian. I said, I wake up with one perfectly defined geographic leg on a map named Italy. I was like, and if I was to sit up and examine my one beautiful Italian leg, I would be looking towards the southern hemisphere just briefly. I was like, and the way that the African and the South American continents lay on the map when you're in the north looking towards the south, it looks like two big feet, doesn't it? And he says, oh, hold on. And he thought about it and he goes, yeah, I guess. I go, right. So now, if I tell you that how the continents lay, how the lands got laid out, how the tectonic spatial interconnectedness of this arrival of mine was laid out before I got here I'm not from around this place. I was like, and I tell you that somebody was told somewhere in the world that they needed to make sure that I had a safe hemisphere and just one really well-defined leg. But I woke up and there's now a southern hemisphere with the northern hemisphere in some geographical acknowledgement in whatever in the globe. I was like, that the humans use. I was like, and it looks like if I sit up from my really good-looking one Italian leg down at the southern hemisphere, it looks like they prepared two really clumsy, awkward. I was like, if that's a female, and those are her feet, I was like, it's not very sexy. I was like, but the Italy area, that looks really like a nice female leg. And he goes, it does. And I'm like, Right, okay, well, that has something to do with the homicide, suicide, genocide, whatever's going on. I was like, has nothing to do with the African continent people, has nothing to do, for me anyway, in like large groups. Do I hate them all? No. I just hate the whole globe at this point because nothing went right. So now at a geospatial level, it's not personal, it's just not feeling it. So, I was like, so that happened. I was like, and then I gotta think about this, right? So, racially, right? Explain it now. And I'm like, now, are you considered blonde in the Latino or Hispanic community? And he goes, me? No, no. He says, you, yeah. And I was like, right, no, because I got like darker hair now, but I was born copperhead. Like I had strawberry blonde hair when I was born. I was like, and then it developed golden color, and then it went, I don't know what. It looks just whatever. And he goes, no. He says, in the Latino community, he says, I have dark hair. And I was like, right, yeah, no, I know that that's really important. I said, I have not spent time with anybody really immersed in the Latino whatever. I was like, to figure out the echelon of the significance of that. So I don't mean that as a, so I said, so just forgive me with that. I don't know all the nuances of it, but I know there's something there. I just don't know the specifics of it. I was like, they did put in a song though for me. I was like, and I said, son, I was like, there's a guy, he was a white guy who sang a song, he died. I was like, something sublime. He sang in Spanish when I was younger, teenage, and he had a song, something about, and I was like, Sanchito, right, I was like, and then I was like, oh wait, Sanchez, no, not Sanchez, because that's a name that would be not appropriate to acknowledge with anything specific. Sancho? And I was like, Sancho. I was like, does that have any meaning to you? And he looked at me and he was like trying to almost, and he was like, he says, not really. And I'm like, all right, yeah, well, it has no meaning for me either. I said, I'm just grappling with trying to understand because in a video, they put it with a very dark skin, what's been presented as Dominican, Hispanic, but and a Sancho reference for the Latino market. But again, it gets very fuzzy and hairy. So like I try to stay out of it, but I know they threw references from the media for me to use to try and grapple with if I get stuck with something, to say, well, reference what we put out in the public because other humans know and have seen it, and then there's some kind of understate, I suppose, of understanding, since I've been so deprivation. I'm deprivation. Like I'll engage slowly, but not really like a lot, because it just hasn't worked out well. Me and this human endeavor, like they're just not nice creatures as a whole. I mean, Virginia, I think, worked out better than anything in my entire life, but then I got pulled and sucked back in New York, which I never wanted, like a toilet bowl. I remember one of the girls, they were talking about something, and she's like, I have an admirable uncle. Why don't you come live with us and stay with us and don't go back to New York? And I was like, well, I would love that. I was like, but wouldn't that be an imposition? I was like, how would that work with the new baby coming and whatnot? Because really, I'd rather not go back to New York, but like, I mean, I don't know. Is that acceptable to like take a stranger's? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I thought that was so nice of them, but and nobody up here ever offers anything like that. But I just didn't know if that would be acceptable or not, and how would that work. Oh, it's just been so messy in this humanness. And then something happened. I'm like, tonight on the TV, I'm like, the United Emirates, you have to earn Emirate. And currently, they seem to take salvage and refuse in the United States. Now, this is just a conversation with myself and my other. But Emirates was supposed to be protected, but my Emirates has not been protected whatsoever, I don't feel, since I've been here in this United States, which gave me a little bit more leeway in the story that they had in preparation, but it was not in good faith at all. The way that they characterized me, portrayed me, and forced me down this route of having to explain, re-explain, go through certain things I would have never gone through had anything worked out right. Oh, and the other thing is that the heirloom jewelry, like somebody brought that up, and I'm like, at a far, far away place. And I'm like, yeah, no, Lynn's got no, my grandmother didn't have any, Lynn didn't have any, and I don't have any. Like, they're like, your grandparents, like, didn't pass on earrings or anything, rings, something? And I'm like, well, my grandmother had some 10 birthstone ring, but it got stolen in my apartment when I was 18. And I think they might have put a homeowner's insurance claim in, but Lynn was like, no, that's costume jewelry, that doesn't count. And I'm like, well, I'd like it to at least be put on there. I mean, it was stolen, but again, they don't really listen to me or follow anything I say. So, no, there's been no heirloom jewelry. There's been no buying of jewelry. Lou has no money. So this United States of America, I mean, it's homicide, suicide, genocide, all holding hands together. I don't know why for. I don't want to be here. I got better places to be with Mr. Prince Charming somewhere else. Instead, you got me locked in here with some Tia Frio and Romer and a really bad to explain situation. I was happy at Limelight at 15 and just disappearing into Limelight, walking down a staircase to happily ever after and never having to become human again, or living in that humanness, just him and I and alien equipment. I really never wanted to come back to Lou and Lynn in the storyline of nothingness and breakage and seepage and Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It is August 18th, 2021.